Right, we're going to give you the most detailed tutorial and build video we've ever done. So basically, it's a 5x3 garage, concrete sectional garage, and we're going to turn this footprint basically into a 5x3 garden room. So it's going to have bifold doors on that front elevation there. On this side elevation, it will have a window here, and there will be an integrated store here with a new door into the integrated store. So first things first, when we arrive at a job, we've obviously got to strip this, so this is in with cost of the build. It's had a fiberglass roof put on it at some point, so that's a bit of a new one that we'll strip that. I'm just thinking what we'll do is just we'll run circular saw through it and cut it up into sections. The concrete section garage itself is relatively heavy. The way we will strip that is the way it was built. So we'll drop the doors off. We'll take a panel at a time and work our way back towards the back of the building. And then these corner pieces in the back will be held up. We'll take a corner off and work that way, and we'll be just left with one corner. In my mind, that's how they built it. We've stripped a few of these with me and John. Have you stripped one before with us, Jen? Yeah. You have, yeah, they are heavy. We're a man down as well, so what we may do, we may lay the panels down, cut them in half, ready for the skip. It's a shame actually, because it's a good, decent garage. It's a shame that it's not being reused somewhere else. But anyway, so what John's going to do now, the customer's already turned the electricity off in the house. He's already proved that to be dead. So what he's going to do now, he's going to take away the lights out of this circuit, take that board off, and we're going to use that board for our power. So he'll put a bag over that. You know, to stop the rain getting in there on the night time. Right, this garage has already got a concrete sectional. No, let me start that again. This garage has already got a concrete base. Now, we can't guarantee the strength of the base, so we very rarely build off there. We've built twice off it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try and answer as many questions that have been asked. Now, Jen's wrote loads of questions down over the weekend in a book for me. We'll get the book in a minute and we'll run through some of the base questions. But the reason why we're not going to use this concrete base is we don't know how thick it is. Our building this size will probably weigh about 4 to 5 tonne. So we don't want to risk building off there and then it cracking in the future. So what we will do, we will pin out our lines. This base, did you say it's just over 5 and 3?
5'1".
It's 5'1" long and 3 wide?
Yeah.
And 3 wide, so what we'll probably do is punch off the corners and dig down and put our pile system. But I'm going to talk about it in great detail throughout the build. And also, what I'm going to do as well is give away this Sternos hammer. It was sent absolutely free to me, and I love the hammer, but I've decided that I'm going to give it away. So what you need to do, you need to watch every one of these episodes of this build series, and I'm going to give you details how you can win it absolutely free. It's a lovely little hammer. It's about, I think when you buy it from the guys in Taiwan, it's £130 once it's delivered. So that'll be free to somebody as well. So what Jen's doing first, she's going to strip the lights. John's already killed the electricity, obviously, so Jen's going to strip the lights. And then what I'll probably do is get up on the roof and run the circular saw through it, cut it into manageable sections, and then we'll go from there. But like I said, I'm going to explain absolutely everything about this build. Timber delivery, we've got the I actually forgot to order the timber, so the timber's going to be here, still here today, but a little later than normal. And we're going to have to organise a skip as well to get rid of this concrete sectional garage.
Yeah, it's just a bit smaller that way. A bit more up with
Griffin.
Right, the timber's here now. I did actually forget to order the timber on Saturday. Rang them up this Monday morning rather, and it's here 2 hours later, which is brilliant. 3 pack of saws. We'll talk about saws as well. We've got some nails there as well. We've got some 90mm smooth, and we've got some 63mm ring cuts as well. The Viper brand, simply because that's what our supplier uses. We get all our stuff from Shire Timber. This is Arthur. Arthur is a regular driver, and he's an absolutely brilliant bloke as well. Right, if Jen comes round here, she might be able to see what we've got. What's ours, Arthur, that far one? Yeah. So like I say, I only ordered it this morning and here it is already. I'm going to talk about this extensively, but I'll go through it quickly now. There's your 4x3, that's your 4x2. There's some CLS, some different lengths of CLS, and there's your 5x2 as well, and there's your slate battens for cladding. So you've got base material there for cladding, that's for roof, and that's partly for walls, but the rest of the wall pack will be in under the sheet there as well, with the OSB, the Jaeger Protect, and the flooring as well. So as I say, I am extensively going to talk about this as we go through it as well. Arthur, are you just going to drop it on the verge there?
Yeah, whenever, yeah.
Right, so what he'll do now, I have this off. There's different ways of building a garden room. So you can build it like this, out of timber, from scratch, or there's now metal framing, which is on the market as well. There's insulated panels, and there's also SIPS panels as well, whichever you choose. But if you follow this tutorial all the way through, you will be able to build one of these without a shadow of a doubt. And if you buy a build pack, the build pack gives you a full list of materials. So all this will be in the build pack for the size you buy. Yes, you don't have to do any working out, anything like that. You just ring up your timber merchants, tell them what you want, you get your quote, you ring up another one, you get your quote from there, and you ring up another one, you get 3 quotes, and obviously you go with your best quote. But again, we are going to talk about costings of timbers and stuff like that as well. So what you'll do, under there is the OSB free. Now that's the roofing board. We want to keep that above all dry. This we're not bothered about. It rains and it's kept outside in the yard anyway. You can see it's.
That was one of the questions as well.
What?
Does it matter if the timber gets wet?
Right, does it matter if timber gets wet? To a certain extent, no. We will sheet ours up to keep it relatively dry, but it will dry out naturally as the build goes on. What you do want to keep dry though is your OSB free roofing boards. Bit more, Arthur. You need to keep them dry basically. But we will, like I say, when we start bringing this round, we will talk about it extensively. And I'll talk about some costings as well. What I'll do now, obviously I ain't going under that in case it snaps. I'm going to throw the chocks down to Davey, and Davey will put these on the floor. Sorry, Davey. There is, yeah. Davey will put them on the floor. And then we'll be able to get the straps out. On the verge if you can, Arthur.
Where are you putting it out here?
On the verge there, yeah.
Swing it round, Liam. You get it?
Yeah. So Davey will obviously keep well clear of this, because what you want to watch for is that it ain't going to snap and fall on you, because it'll kill you basically. But he is going to put these chocks under so that them straps can come off. That was school, that. Yeah.
Put the timbers on the ring.
So Arthur's just asked him to roll them on the side, so because it's on the verge is quite high there, so we can definitely get these straps out afterwards. Like I say, I'm going to talk about absolutely everything, literally to the point where we put these chocks in so that we can get the straps back out. It's alright, he's got it, Davey, he's got it back. Just watch it, don't twist now on you, Davey. Get his straps off for him, mate.
With the OSB, Liam, in there.
I can't half.
A bit dodgy on there, isn't it?
Put it on the path, Arthur. I'd sooner block the path than the drive, because you might want to get a car out. Oh, Arthur! Arthur!
It's on the grass, isn't it? It's sunk in the
Do you want to pull it out with that?
As long as you don't slide them to the road.
Is yours trapped? Is it trapped?
No, but mine's back out.
Yeah, get yours out. What's happened is it's trapped the strap on the earth, so he's just going to try and pull that out now.
Just watch yourself.
Lovely. Lovely. So, successfully got that off without, what? Skills indeed. and we left the path nice and clear, and this customer's shared drive, so they can still both get the cars out. Only just, but they can still get them out. Right, so that's it. Arthur will go on his way now and get rid of that timber. We will have breakfast, and we will probably get the timber around before we continue with demolish at the garage. And now I think I'll talk to you about timber then, when we get it round. But we will protect ours. It doesn't matter if it's not protected, I suppose, because it's all outside. Slate battens kept outside, 5x2s kept outside on the racks. The thing what generally isn't is the CLS, which is under there. That's our wall framing stuff, and we should have, David, can I give you that please? We should have some under here as well. So that's for us walls, that's for us floor, that's for us roof, and that's for cladding the walls and the internal storeroom as well. But like I say, I'll talk extensively about that after breakfast probably. Right, so what we're doing, we're stripping this concrete garage. Obviously it's really heavy. We've gone for a reciprocating saw. The reciprocating saw was left in the container, but we've been back, got that, which is a lot better job for cutting that fiberglass roof and up into manageable panels. But these concrete things, I'm estimating they weigh about 70 kilos each, maybe even a bit more than 70 kilos. So what we've done, because we've got quite a bit of a drive to get to front and skip, we'll cut them in half, which still saw. But this is how you need to take this down. I'd imagine this is how they build it. They'll get a corner up first and then start from there, but it's by far the safest way. A panel at a time, even though there's a wobble on that, that's still structurally okay. So what we'll do, we'll take off this corner and then work that way and just have the two corner bits there together, which will obviously hold themselves. But like I say, it's got to be more than 70 kilos anyway, John, what do you reckon? Maybe 100 kilos.
Not far off that.
Maybe 100 kilos a panel, but what we'll do, we'll get them in skip tomorrow. But you can see the base now. The base, we're going to talk about it obviously extensively. I'm going to keep saying the word extensively. But what we're thinking now, we might have a chat with the customer, and if he's all right with it, give him a little bit bigger than what he's asked for, just to save us breaking through this concrete pad. So what we might do then is just dig down at the side and put our rods at the side and around, and then in the middle there we'll probably chem fix them in the middle if the concrete's sufficiently thick. If it isn't, we'll punch a hole and we'll dig down there for the rods. But we will talk about everything, but that's what we're thinking at this moment in time, aren't we, John? Yeah, we're thinking make it bigger just to save us more work, even though it will cost more in the long run, but that's why we've got no money in it. Okay, right, so we're going to carry on stripping this. Right, the garage is completely dropped now. Skip's coming tomorrow, so we'll get rid of that. Couldn't get a skip because couldn't remember when I came to price the job whether or not we could have one on the drive. Skip needs a permit, so 24 hours to get a permit to park it on the street, so that's what's happening there. There's the roof. We'll probably cut that up into smaller sections for skip tomorrow. And there's the concrete, which we'll bring like a sack barrow thing tomorrow to wheel that round because it is still quite heavy. Skip is nearly £300 now, so you need to get as much as you can in that skip. Anybody who's filled the skip before will know what a greedy board is. We'll possibly make some greedy boards out of them. Basically, it's pieces of ply stuffed down the side to get yourself more in skip, although some companies will not take them. Anyway, right, this pad is 5 metres, 140 millimetres that way, and it is 2,970 this way. We won't use the pad if Davey comes here. John's exposed the pad there at the end, and we know it's 4 inches deep on the sides at least, but we don't know what it is in the middle. Like I say, we won't be using the pad. Right, so what we're going to do is, if that's the customer's fence there, and that is his concrete pad, so it's 5,140 that way, it's 2,970 that way. So what we're going to do, because we need to try and save ourselves a bit of work, we're going to cut off that section of concrete there, get rid of that. We're also going to cut off that section of concrete there, get rid of that, and then we will put our rod system like that, which means the customer will not lose any of his garden to what he had originally, and the rod system will go down the side of the concrete pad, like that, and in the middle, what we're going to do in the middle, we're going to drill some trial holes. What we'll do basically is get a masonry bit on the hammer drill, we'll drill it through the concrete. When we feel it goes through the concrete, we'll measure how far the drill bit's gone in, and if it's 4 inches, then what we'll do, we'll drill some holes there, some 25mm holes, and resin, chem res. It's like a chemical resin, but I'll show you that if we go down that road, and we'll put some rods in there with the chem res. But if not, we will cut square holes out if it's only like 2 inches thick, punch some holes and put some supports in. And don't forget, the middle there is basically take the bounce out of the floor basically. What we're going to do now, I've asked for questions basically because I want to give you as much information as possible, and without the questions I can't give you the answers. So Jen spent all weekend, haven't you, Jen?
I have.
Literally all weekend writing down questions. So she's going to fire a few questions across, and I'm going to try and answer them the best I can. We're going to go base. So if you're watching this now tonight or tomorrow, and you think, right, they'll be doing walls soon, and I've got a question about walls, then drop us a question. We're going to try and answer them every day. This job is going to cost me money and take me longer to build. So as by way of thanks, what I'd appreciate from you guys, right, is I'm going to put a link. We've been nominated for the Yorkshire Choice Awards. So if you could go on that link and put a vote for us and give us a chance of a good night out and hopefully win this award. That's all I want from you. You're getting all this advice, all this information for absolutely nothing. Just help us win this award. That would be fantastic. Right, Jen, first question.
Right, so first question's from someone called Bumblebee. So, have you ever built straight onto a concrete pad without using the rod system?
We have built straight onto a concrete pad. What we had was... we knew it was 8 inches thick, this concrete pad, so we had a concrete pad like that, but the garden room needed to be bigger. So what we did, we put a series of rods like that and extended the garden room. So here the timber was sat onto the concrete, but we had our normal frame around there. So that was on the concrete. We put a DPC under that and infilled with insulation, and then we extended it and made it bigger. So that's what we did. But the customer told us the concrete was 8 inches. We trialled it. It was 8 inches, and it had rebarring as well. So we were more than happy to build off that. And we did another one in Huddersfield. I believe the lady's on the group as well. And we chem res that, so we drilled it. It was like 8-9 inches thick somewhere, wasn't it, John? And we drilled it. We put chemical resin and we put the rods in there. So yeah, we have done that in, but we've adapted it as well. Next one.
So there's a question from George Webstale. He's building on a concrete base and he's wondering how he will insulate the floor without causing a height issue.
You can't really. So this is one of the reasons why we use the rod system, because let's say we've put this pad in. So this will answer quite a few questions and all for you. So let's say this pad wasn't here and you wanted to build on a concrete pad. So you would have to dig out this area first of all. You'd have to dig it out and get the muck, either dump it somewhere else around your garden or get it out into a skip. You'd be digging down 8 inches, which is a lot of muck. Then you'd want 4 inch of hardcore, bringing from there to here, whacking it all down. Then you're going to have to create a shutter in to get your level pad. Then you're going to have to put your visqueen in to keep the damp, stop the damp from coming up the concrete. And then you're going to have to pour the concrete, and all that's time and money. That's why I don't know what I'm talking about now. Where am I going with that one? What was the question?
I can't remember. Hold on. He's building on a concrete base. He's wondering how he will insulate the floor without causing a height issue.
Right, so you can't. So basically what will happen is you'll put this pad in like that. Can you see this ground's pretty level, yeah? So you'll put the pad in, but then what you have to do then is insulate the top of the floor. So you'd build your walls off there, you'd put insulation up the side of the walls as well, and then you'd put 100mm insulation here, or 70 at a push, and then you board over the top of that. So you've lost nearly 4 inches in height. So even though you've got this level base, you're still losing 4 inches in height. So you have to insulate the concrete, because otherwise your building won't be thermally efficient and it'll be freezing water, John.
So I've got another question here. It's called Zig. It's pretty similar. He's getting a concrete base added to the garden in a couple of weeks. He's seen that we cut holes in the base, then re-concrete the rods in. Should he do the same, or is the screws that he should put directly into the concrete to hold the floor freeze?
Right, as long as he's got a sufficiently strong pad, right, 4 inches plus, with concrete, with rebarring as well, that would be sufficient for any building. And then what he needs to do then is put a damp course in and fix his timber plate, his wall plates straight to the concrete, but he'll have to have a damp course under there as well, and there should be a damp course on the concrete as well. But as per the last question, he will have to insulate the inside of that as well.
So he's done another question. Is it best to leave insulation off the concrete using slate battens? And what's the lifetime of insulation since the bottom's exposed?
If he's putting the insulation straight onto the concrete, that's fine. As long as there's a damp course under the concrete, that's fine as well. He can put the insulation straight onto the concrete as long as the concrete is level. He doesn't have to take it off, and that insulation will last a lot of years. Well, I mean, it's not remotely going to rot. The only thing that I know that breaks down insulation is UV rays. Of course, it's trapped under the concrete and under the floor, so it's never going to come into contact with the UV rays. I'm going to answer one more while you're doing that, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's asked about a manhole cover. Now, we did one a couple of years ago, and it's on YouTube somewhere, and he had a manhole there, an inspection cover, which he needed access to. So what we did, we built our frame, and we cut out a panel like that. So basically, inside the room, he had a wooden engineered floor. We had a trap door. We lifted that out. There was 100mm insulation. You lifted that out, and then the manhole was exposed so that you could still rod it in the future. Because I know that question was coming up, wasn't it?
Yeah. So there's one more. Is block paving a good base for a garden room, or should the area be best unpaved and use the rod system?
I wouldn't. It depends who's put the block paving down. I mean, you can block pave a drive and it won't ever sink, but I know that if you don't do it sufficiently well, then it will sink. It depends how well the block paving's been done. If there's good 4 inch of hardcore that's been waxed successfully underneath, and then it's all flat and it's nice and it's level and it's solid, then you're going to be good on that, but you're still going to want to keep it off the floor to stop the timbers from rotting. Right, so what we're going to do, we are going to cut down there with this little saw, we're going to kango that out, and we're going to cut down there with this little saw, and we're going to kango that out, and then we're going to start digging our holes, and we'll talk about the holes and the rods. Right, you can see what we've done then. John exposed concrete over here, and he showed me it was 4 inches thick. Turns out it was a lot thicker.
Over there.
It turns out in some places, let's have a look at this, we have got 6 inches thick. We still wouldn't have used it, to be fair. There's no rebar in it, so what I would be then worried about was cracking in the future and maybe a wall subsiding slightly or something like that. So what we've done, we've took the front off, we've took the side off, so that what we can do is you can push it all that way and that way, which is what we'll do. So tomorrow we're going to dig some holes down there. We're going to talk about the holes and the rods tomorrow. We'll put a row down there and a row down there, a row at the back end, and we're definitely going to chemically fix the rods. So what we'll do, we'll drill 25mm holes, we'll put the rod in the chem fix, and that will get a grip of that, and that works really well. There's a few more questions. Like I said, I'm going to try and answer as much as I can. We're going to talk about timber in a minute, but first of all, Jen's going to fire some more questions at me that people have asked on YouTube, and hopefully I'm going to try my best to answer them for you. Go on, Jen.
Right, so Michael S. How to stop mice and rats? Can you install something to prevent inquests of animals?
Right, lots of people ask this, and lots of people are absolutely completely paranoid about it. If you Google it, a mouse can get through a hole the diameter of a pencil, yeah? So a mouse, I mean, it's not quite a pencil, but you know what I mean. A mouse can get through that, so you can get like a rodent mesh, which has got really small holes on. You can go to the effort of that, but trust me, if they want to get in, they're going to get in. But then, you know, they need a source of food, don't they? So if you're generally a clean person, your garden's not full of crap, then they're going to have no food, so they're not going to be there anyway. But if you want to put a mesh on, you can actually get a rodent mesh. You can fix it to the timber around the perimeter and provide like a skirt, but it wants to go down into the ground to stop them digging down a little bit and getting under, which they will do, because they always find a way. If they want to get in, they'll get in, just like a smackhead will get in your house if he wants to burgle you. Right, Jen, next one.
Right. So, does anything go on the bottom? They've seen that we put insulation under the floor, but nothing under that, like wire netting.
Right, so who's asked that?
That's KG... I don't have a clue. KJEKS, clause.
Right, KJ clause.
Yeah.
No relation to Santa. Right, what we do then, so we'll put our timbers across there, and then we'll run some slate bats across the other way, and that will stop the insulation from dropping through and hitting the floor. And before the question crops up and all, mice do not choose to eat insulation. It's got no beneficial dietary benefit to them whatsoever. So don't worry about mice eating your insulation. Next one.
Right, can you do a good deep dive on the foundations, the footings, the screw things?
Can I do a good deep dive? Right, tomorrow we're going to dig the holes. We're going to talk about the holes, we're going to talk about the shovels we use, the specific types of shovels we use, and we're going to talk about digging the holes. We've got some big trees here which might throw up a few roots, we don't know yet. We'll talk about the ground, John will talk about the digs, he'll talk about the suitability of the ground, and the fact we've never come across one yet. We've even done one on an old quarry, and it was solid bedrock underneath, solid sandstone. So what we did, we drilled holes and dropped the rods in, sat the washer on, so the washer couldn't punch through the base, because the base was just stone. But that was a job we did a few years ago, and that is on YouTube as well somewhere.
So that was Charles Pilgrim, sorry I didn't mention.
Charles Pilgrim for that question.
So
Next one.
Michael Bonehill, so his back garden drops by about 2.5 feet from the back wall of the house down to the fence.
Yep.
At the bottom of the garden, where do I take his where does he take his measurements from to allow him to build up?
It's 2.5. Right, so it's open to interpretation, but this is the rule. If that's the lay of your land, to exaggerate it, and that is your building there, the 2.5 is taken from the highest point of land adjacent to the building. So that distance there needs to be 2.5. Adjacent means closest to the building, so that point of land there would be closest. Even if that was 4 metres, yeah, your neighbours ain't going to be happy, but that's where your 2.5 is taken from, the highest point of land adjacent to the building. And even if that's the front of your building, and that's the slope on your roof, so if you imagine an imaginary line going across there at 2.5, that's your highest point of your building adjacent to the highest point of your land, if that makes sense to you.
Right, so RC Escape, when putting in the rods, how do they not sink?
How do they not sink?
And do you worry when it's built on a slope?
Right, we will talk about that tomorrow, but basically there is a steel plate washer that sits within the concrete, so the rod cannot punch through the concrete, and the concrete, we dig down to solid ground, and the concrete sits in the solid ground, so it's pushing down on the solid ground, and the rod can't push through because it's got a square plate washer. I feel a bit like Martin Lewis. Next question.
Well done. I think I've done...
Is that it for the base?
I think that is it for the base.
That's it for the base. Right, we're going to go talk about timber now.
Oh, there's one. You wanted John to answer this one.
Go on, John.
So, Pazza99, be good to have more detail on the different challenges faced when digging out the holes for footings.
Right,
like tree roots, discarded old bricks, and what's your opinion on ground screws?
Right, okay, so tomorrow when we're digging out, we're going to put Mike on John. John's going to talk about some of the digs. He's had some sandy ones as well, which we thought would never hold, didn't we, John? And he'll talk you through all the various digs. What happens when we get to a root? What happens when we get to bricks and how we get past that? We'll talk about that. We'll put the mic on John tomorrow and he'll talk about all that. Ground screws. Right, ground screws are relatively new. They're expensive. You can do them DIY, but if you get the quote for them to come out, they're a lot more expensive than putting these rods in. Granted, they can be done and built off in the same day, which obviously is a time saver. But if you do look at them, you need more ground screws if you're using the smaller timber. And if you look at some of the promotional pictures, they've got just a few ground screws, but with like 6, 7, 8 inch timber. So that under permitted development's not going to happen for you because you want all the height you can get. So ground screws, expensive. If you can afford it, go for it. If you can't afford digging out holes, go for it. Why not? But then you could always go, let's talk about different bases. So you've got different bases. You can have a concrete pad like this. You'd have to dig the ground out, like I said before. You'd have to get the ground outside. You'd have to bring some stone in. You'd have to whack that down. You'd have to shutter it. Then you'd have to get concrete in. It's a lot of work, but you get a nice solid base, yeah? And then you've still got to insulate the thing on top. So you've got to think about your height. Ground screws, expensive. You can do them DIY. But then again, you can work off them the very next day, but they are expensive. Rod system, it's cheap, it's DIY, it's millimetre. I'm not saying you should use it because I'm not selling it, so you make that decision. And when me and John started, what we used to do, didn't we, John? We'd dig some holes, but then we'd make a shuttering and fill it with concrete, but all the shutterings were level, weren't they? Yeah. And then we'd fill them with concrete and obviously peel the shuttering off after when the concrete. So we'd have concrete piers coming out of the ground, and that's how we first started off doing them, didn't we? Which was a right ball ache. Like John's got one at home and his is actually built like that. And then we just come across the idea of using the rods, which has worked brilliantly for every single job we've been on.
Have you got any more bases? Because that was one of the questions. He's not sure how to make a solid base without digging out his bedding.
I'd go for rod system. I mean, you can literally, if your rods, let's say your ground's like that, and then rods are that high off the ground over there, and we'll go maybe 300 maximum off at ground, won't we, John? We won't worry about any lateral movement because once your full base is inside together, there is no lateral movement, so you could be 300, even 400 mil out the ground on them.
So how would Wandango.
Wandango? Is he a relation to Fandango?
How would you go about building on a slope around 30 degrees?
30 degrees. Again, unless your building's 8 metres long, I'd still use these rods. Or if it's a real big, then you could, let's say this ground's really steep here, yeah, and it's maybe 500 higher over there. You could build a sleeper wall out of breeze blocks here, which would be easy enough. Little trench, bang some concrete in, sleeper wall out of breeze blocks, and this would support your timber on this side with a DPC under the timber.
Right, keen DMB, why do you always use rods, even on existing solid concrete bases?
Well, I think we've answered that, haven't we? We cannot guarantee the strength of this base, although it is 6-8 inches thick, yeah? But I've commercially built these and I have to give a warranty on them, so we have to guarantee it. So because we didn't put it in, we won't build off it, unless the customer tells us that we can. And they'll take the fall for it, and we're happy it's 8 inches plus, John.
But
yeah.
you're not saying it didn't suffice.
No, I'm definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely saying it didn't suffice. I mean, if we were talking about this earlier on, if this was my garden, I would have drilled some holes in this and gone, you know what, I'll build off this. The only downside to it is it's been laid properly. Yeah, there's a DPC under it, but it slopes, so you'd have to then counter react that when you built your walls because you've got a sloping floor.
So I think you might have already answered this in a certain way, but mostly my free Mondeo. Can you explain how different methods, rods, screws, concrete blocks can be used in various types of location?
Yeah, I think I just have then. I think I've explained that. So there is an option. Let's say your ground's like that. Yeah, you could have rods there if you wanted. Breeze block wall. Or you could have breeze block piers. You could like dig a little hole, yeah, and breeze block some piers up. But you'd have to make sure they're all dead laser level and then just support your framework on that.
So would it make a difference about the flooring, like the type of ground and that they've got? Sandy,
yeah,
rocky.
I mean, so clay, I know a lot of people like worry about on clay and that, but we prefer to get clay, don't we, John? Yeah. It ain't going nowhere. If you're digging an extension, they want you down a metre till you hit good clay. The clay's solid. Once that concrete's in there, it ain't pushing down on nowhere. It's absolutely brilliant. Clay's good. We've had sandy, haven't we? Yeah, we've had rocky where it's been just backfill, loads of stones, loads of crap, loads of house bricks and everything like that, and we've dug down to a good decent depth. And then what we've done, we've gone wide as well. So we've got like a almost an elephant foot shape of concrete, like belled out at the bottom. So we've got a big solid base. Even though like the ground is pretty crap, you've got a big section of concrete weighing it down. That's what we've done on the rough ground.
And when it all ties in together.
Yeah, when it's all tied in, you know, you might have one that's a bit dodgy, a bit crap ground, but you know, you'll have a couple that are really good, and you've got loads of concrete in them, so bigger holes, wider holes, that's the answer to that one there.
Michael S, types of things in the build packs.
Right, build packs. Right, I'm asking nothing off you for these tutorials, nothing at all. All I'll ask, right, is that you vote for us in the what we've been nominated for the Yorkshire Awards. Vote for us, the link's in the description. Go to the description and buy a ticket, £2 for a raffle ticket. John?
Where's my nips? Yeah, go on.
What are we saying?
Where's his nips?
Where's my nips?
All right, John's looking for his nips. I was just giving John heads up that Jen had a mic on then. I didn't know what he was saying. I don't know, to be honest with you, John. I have used them though.
I think they're probably in your box.
Have they gone in my box?
Yeah.
Right, what we're talking
Build
about?
packs.
Build packs. Build packs. There's 13 different sizes, right? We're going to look at the timber in a minute. The build pack gives you full instructions how to build it, along with these videos, right? And if you go on the Facebook group as well, 30,000 people on there, some solid sound advice. There's no piss taking. Yeah, there's no mocking people, there's no putting people down, because we don't have any of that. You're kicked out if you like that. So you can literally ask any question. A build pack, full instructions, it will give you a full materials list. And when I say a full materials list, every single bit of timber you need, you've got a full itemised list of all items from Toolstation with product code numbers as well. So like you can go to Toolstation, you can give them that list, they'll sort it out for you, all the code numbers in there. It tells you how many you want for your specific build size. Timber, every single length of timber. So what you do, you'll have a list of timber. You can find different merchants, and we're going to talk about this in a second. Different merchants, give them all the list, get the best price, get them to compare prices with each other, find the best price, and then that's that. And it supplies for glass, doors, rubber roofing, fascias. Everything's in the build pack and everything you need. John, are you looking for your nips?
I found them. There was in your box.
Well, I didn't put them in my box. I do. One more question.
One more.
Oh, I thought you were telling me.
No. Diego Andrejev. Why so much fuss over 2.5
Permitted development.
That's
Well,
the one.
permitted development is 2.5. That is the maximum you can build if you're within 2 metres of the boundary. And if you think of a garden like this, David's not going to pan around now because customers, a bit of privacy and stuff like that. But if you think about a garden, it's probably 10 metres wide, it's maybe 30 metres long. You don't want to plonk this 2 metres away from the fence because you're losing so much garden. So everybody wants it tight to the fence in the corner, that's what they want, which means you're within 2 metres of the boundary, and 2.5 is the maximum you can build under permitted development unless you got planning permission. That's that. Okay.
Okay.
Right, let's walk down there and we'll have a talk about timber. David, I'm not blaming you, mate.
He is, Dave.
Right, a build pack. Let's say you bought a build pack for a fibre free. Granted, there's a little bit more in this because we've got an internal wall, but this is what you're going to get. A full list of all these materials here. Yeah, that will be on the list. And if you build the build pack according to the instructions and stick at the size that you've gone to, then you will have very little wastage. So the build pack itself will save you money and time. A lot of people have asked the question, where do we get this 4x free? We're going to talk about every single piece of timber, not every single piece, but every type of timber as we go through it. But the 4x free, apparently it's a struggle to get hold of in Scotland. So I asked a question on the group. If you're not on Facebook and you can't stand Facebook, which a lot of older people do not like it, maybe you want to go on just to join the group, 30,000 people, and you get good advice. I asked a question the other night and I got loads of answers. So in Scotland, Thornbridge Timberworld, rider services at a place called Moffat, Hughes Gray Build Base at Bankery, BSP Timber at Aberdeen, and Direct Line Timber in Dundee. They all sell the 4x free. Like I say, we're going to talk about it as we use it throughout the build, but the C16 as well, the construction timber. We can talk about C16 and C24 as well. C16 is cheaper than C24. There is very, very little difference. C16 is more than absolutely fine. 5x2 for the roof. And then here, the Aga Protect, the 11mm OSB, the OSB free roofing boards, and the slate battens as well. And pricing, now pricing's a difficult one because throughout the country, prices varies. I mean, in London, you'd be paying nearly double for this timber we've got sat here. But pricing, I'm going to not really talk about pricing much, just apart from the fact where you want to be buying your timber from. 11mm OSB, Jen just points to that there. It's 2.4 by 4.2, so it's an 8x4 sheet, yeah, it's 11mm. Right, the most expensive place I found was Homebase. It's £35 a sheet. Whereas if you go to B&Q, I think it was £25 and Wickes was £24. Our timber merchant, we get it at £21.50. So what I'm saying to you is, if you do buy a build pack, print it off, give it to your timber merchants and get them to argue with each other over which can get you the cheapest one, because you'll get it a lot cheaper than if you go to one of these like Homebase or B&Q. And get your timber from there. So that's what you want to do. You want to shop around, you want to go to a local builders merchants because you'll get a much better deal and you'll get better quality timber as well. Again, with fixings and consumables like blades and things like that, it's like Wickes and Toolstation, they're the same company. B&Q and Screwfix, again, they're the same company. We tend to use Toolstation all the time because it's, I think when I googled it, it works out it's 10% cheaper than Screwfix, so why wouldn't you go there? Again, I'm in no collaboration with anybody, so Toolstation's best. Local timber merchants are best as well, and you'll get better quality timber as well. And I think that might be it for today now. What we're going to do, Skip's coming tomorrow. We've had to get a permit for that, so that'll be on the road tomorrow. We'll get all the concrete in, we'll get the metal on top of this concrete then, and no doubt somebody will pull up in a van and take the metal away, which generally happens. And then we're going to start digging the holes. Have you got one more question?
Sort of. Do you want to ask them about, someone's asked about the new kits.
The new kits.
Talk about the pot.
Yeah, so like I said, all this information is absolutely free. Now, social media's, we either love it or hate it, but if it wasn't for social media, we wouldn't be where we are today. I'm certainly not going to start charging for this information. I know that some people feel that they've done a lot of work for nothing and it's time to charge and get some money back, but no, it's all free. All I'll ask, right, is like maybe you'll buy a raffle ticket for the pod. I'm going to talk about the panels in a minute. Vote for us and buy a raffle ticket, and if you buy a bull pack, that's great. The pod is an insulated metal panel. and we will be going forward with that soon as I can find a unit. I'm trying to rent out a unit so we can sort of do it in there. And what we will be doing you'll buy a kit, you'll buy like a 3x5 whatever. We will cut the kit for you and we'll ship the kit to you with the full instructions of how to build it, and there's no reason why you won't have it watertight in a day. Is that the question, yeah?
He wanted to know if it's more expensive as well, and will it meet any combustible requirements?
Yeah, it does meet some requirements, but it's certainly less combustible than timber anyway, and cost-wise I think it will be within the region of timber, but you will have the benefit of not having all this timber turn up. You'll have a kit and you'll build it in a day, whereas we certainly won't build this in a day, that's for sure.
It's called Jason Busby.
Jason who, sorry?
Busby.
Jason Busby. But the kit will be available soon enough anyway. That's the goal, to get that up and running. So buy a ticket, go to the description, there's loads of links in there. There's a link for the Yorkshire Choice Awards, there's a link for the raffle, there's a link for the build pack, and what else was the link for?
Not a link, but you want to win the hammer, don't you?
Oh yeah, the hammer. Where's the hammer? There's somebody. John's going to run up and get the hammer. We're going to talk about the hammer. Right, if you watch this and you think, what is this guy droning on about? I've told you this is going to be the most explanatory one we've ever done. We're going to talk about absolutely everything. So there is lots to talk about. I've no idea where it's gone, John. Jen?
It's in the box, Liam's box there. That one, yeah.
We're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about tools. We're going to talk about how long we've been here. John's going to talk about holes. He's going to talk about internet. David's going to talk about how long he's been here and his role here. Jen's going to talk about all various things as well. And Brandon's off ill at the moment, but he should be back soon. So Sternos sent me this. I'm going to give this away absolutely free, but you have to watch every episode, because in one of them episodes, right, there will be a 6-digit number written somewhere in one of them episodes, and the person who finds that number and sends me that number, yeah, will win this Sternos hammer. It will be a 6-digit number. It will be written somewhere on something throughout the build, and it will appear a few times as well, and you will win this Sternos hammer. It's brand new. I have used it a little bit. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's full aluminium shaft. It's really light, 13 ounces, and it's a great bit of kit. So there will be a 6-digit number, so you need to watch out for that. This is the only thing I've been sent in a long time. Somebody sent us some flasks, which was great, wasn't it? What else do we get sent, John? I get sent, like, Jen gets offered to be sent loads of stuff. Yeah, what do I get? Somebody offered to send me a bird feeder. And what you laughing at? What? Honey. And honey? Oh yeah, no, the honey was good though. Yeah, we got nice. Some honey. Somebody sent us some honey and it was really nice, yeah. We've had some flasks, some thermos flasks. They were brilliant. Davey's lost his, hasn't he? Yeah, I've got one at home for you. John's still got his. That's going good strong over a year, isn't it? Yeah. But you get offered to be sent all kinds, don't you? Gloves. She gets gloves, tools. Yeah, and I've got a bird feeder. And shoes, yeah, boots. We'll talk about uniform as well, and we're going to talk about pack-outs and all, because pack-outs are expensive, but they're brilliant. We're going to talk about them possibly tomorrow. Okay, so please hit subscribe, please go to the description, please watch tomorrow, and look out for that 6-digit number, because this Sternos hammer may be yours. Good? We good?